guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to another video, welcome if you are new. It's a very exciting day. We are mixing two of my favourite things. One is using prompts to find a book, and two is then reading that book. I have somehow managed to, apart from one final book, complete my monthly TBR by the 13th of October. So I now have basically the rest of the month to read one book that's chosen for me and then basically mood read for the rest of the month, which is very, very exciting. But it does mean that I have to pick a book. So we are gonna do, I watch a YouTuber called Ellen Catherine, who I absolutely adore, and she films these all the time and I absolutely love them. Watching her like scurry through her bookcase, then eventually find a book and then read that book. I just love it. So I've actually gone to a blog called teatimelit.com, which I will leave linked down below, where I found some prompts to follow. So we are gonna go to pick a book and then we're gonna go from that book to the next book to the next book to the next book until we complete all the prompts and have a final book that we are gonna read in this video. It's gonna be a spoiler-free reading video, but first things first, we need to pick the book. So prompt number one is grab your favorite book, go to the acknowledgements, and the first name you see, find a book by an author with the same name. So I would say one of my favourite books and one of the very few books in my life that I have ever read more than once is V.E. Schwab, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I adore this book. I think it's so well paced. Like, it feels a little bit slow while you're reading it, and then as various parts of the plot come out, you then realise why it's paced in the way it is. The writing is exceptional. The characters are incredible. The little like fantasy twist that's in it, such a big fan. I freaking love this book. If you have this book on your TBR and you've been thinking about reading it, just hurry up and read it. I adore. So we have, on the front of the book is Neil Gaiman. How many Neils? Oh, there's a Neil Shusterman who wrote Scythe. Naomi Novik. Nah, I doubt I have another author called Naomi. Okay, those are my two options. Neil Gaiman or Naomi Novik. So I'm going to go with Neil Gaiman and pick up a Neil Shusterman book. I don't think it's the right spelling of Neil, but it's the closest we're going to get. So yeah, it's a different spelling of Neil, but we're just going to have to deal with it. So we've then moved on to Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I have read this book. It is a YA dystopian fantasy book. Let me just adjust myself. Fantasy book following the human race in multiple years' time when we have basically cured death. And so the population of Earth is now slightly getting out of control. And so there are these scythes who go around and basically control the population by killing off a proportion of it every year. This book follows two young characters, Citra and Rowan, who basically get enrolled into the scythedom. It's a whole series. There are 3 primary books and then a book of short stories. So freaking love this book. And what a good book to move on to next. So prompt number 2, pick something on that cover and find another book with that thing in the title. Ooh, so we have red, because the book is red. We have a hood and a cape, which is a thing that I struggle with, but red I can do. Where is it? So we're picking up red because Scythe is what's on there, which is the name of this book already. I don't really have anything with hood or cape in the title, but red we can do. So we're now on to Red Queen, which is Victoria Aveyard, which basically follows a universe where there are reds, who are like the commoners or like the non-magical people, and silvers, who are the elite and they are magical people. And it's a very similar plot, but this did come first to the Powerless trilogy. So I love this series. It's a whole 5-book series, big fan. I've already read them. Right. So go to page 50 and line 5, pick a word from that line and find a title with that word. So page 50, line 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, line 5 is just understand. Understand? Question mark? I can't think of any books with understand in the title. Yeah, you have no books matching understand on your bookcase. I think I'm going to go to the next line that is All Too Well, Dad. So, we have All In. So, we're going to pick up All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is book 3 in the Natural series, which follows a group of teenagers who basically have very strong abilities. So, one is very, very good at maths to the point where they're basically a human calculator. One is basically so good at reading people that they are effectively a human lie detector. The main character, Cassie, is very good at profiling, so she can basically see someone and learn everything about them. And they solve cold cases, or actually some live cases. And I loved this series a lot. I really enjoyed how each book had its own thing, but then there was like an overarching plot across all 4. So yeah, big fan. This is book number 4. The next prompt is find a 5-star read with the same colours on the cover. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Fourth Wing. It's more of a gold than a yellow, but I mean, come on, they are pretty similar colourways. They both have a black background. They both have a kind of yellowy, goldy drawing on them, and then they both have both gold and white text. So I would say this is a pretty similar colourway matchup. So this is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. If you haven't heard of this series, where have you been? I love it, but I feel like it's Marmite and you either love the series or hate it. The first one follows Violet Sorrengail, who is a scribe, or she wants to be a scribe, but actually she ends up listing into the dragon school, and you basically watch her learn how to be a dragon rider, which I love. I absolutely adore it. And the romance between her and Xaden, big fan. I know the second and third books have a bit more of a mixed opinion of them, but I really enjoyed them. So I freaking love this book, and this is book number 5. So we then find a book with the same number of pages. Hint, hint, Goodreads is your friend. So this book is a relatively long book because it is a fantasy. 540 pages long. So I need to find a book that's around 540 pages in length. So we're primarily looking at fantasies, I want to say. So this book is 540 pages. This book is 544 pages, which is pretty darn close. I don't think I'm going to get closer than that. So this is A Sky Beyond the Storm, which is the 3rd book? Maybe it's the 4th book. I think it might be the 4th book in An Ember in the Ashes, the series. I really enjoyed this series, but I have to say I don't massively remember what the series is about. I feel like this has been one of those series I'm going to have to reread at some point, because I think I read it at a time when I was reading lots of similar series, and so therefore they've all sort of merged into one big thing in my head. But I remember enjoying this, so this is what this book is. Right, let's pick the next, well, not pick the next prompt, let's read the next prompt. Flip open to any page, the first name you see, find a book by an author who shares that name. The only problem we have with this is because it's a fantasy, some of these names are gonna be ridiculous. Yeah, I've read Madame Hera, which is so not a name. Oh no, I picked the wrong book for this kind of prompt. Right, all these names are absolutely wild fantasy names, which literally no one is ever going to remember. So I'm going to go and find another book with around 540 pages and see if I can swap to a different book that maybe has more names in it that I'm going to be able to like find. So it's a little bit more, it's 560 pages, but Twisted Lies is the next closest book where I still own the physical book of. So this one is 558 pages. So we're 18 pages off, but that's pretty close. And this is a spicy, slightly dark romance, but kind of a bit lighter than a dark romance. Right, let's pick this page. Christian. Oh, my life. I'm going to stretch this prompt beyond an inch of its life. So, these books are interconnected romances. The couple from the first book, the male, is it the male? I think it's the male love interest. It could be the female love interest because it's a very gender neutral name. One of the love interests is called Alex. And I'm sure Alex must be mentioned in this book at some point because they are interconnected. So we're gonna pick the name Alex, which is, as I said, very convoluted, but Alex does allow us to pick up Alex Astor, and we have Lightlark, which I recently read, and I have been adoring this series, and this is the only book from my last month's TBR that I haven't finished yet. So this is Skyshade by Alex Astor. But yeah, I am really enjoying this series. So this is following six races who are each cursed with a different curse, and every 100 years they have a chance to break the curse by entering a competition, and they have to try and win. And there you have it. That's the plot of the book. Freaking loved this book. The way it goes and the journey that you go on in the second book, big fan. Can't wait to read the last book. That prompt was an absolute nightmare. So prompt number 7, find another title with the same number of letters. So Lightlark is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 letters long. I need to find another book that has a title that is 9 letters long. So cute, I found one. The minute I found one, I just stopped looking. But we have Bewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This has 9 letters in the title. This is just like a really cutesy little witch book. It follows a character who is turning 30 on her 30th birthday. She has to pass kind of like a test of some description to prove that she is worthy of her magic. But because she hasn't really been using it much in the last 15 years of her life, there is a question over whether she will pass or not. And that is the gist of the story. I actually thought this was really cute. I didn't think it was like the best book I've ever read, but it was like really cutesy. So yeah, another book with the same number of letters in the title. So prompt number 8 is find a book with a similar cover. So we have a little cartoon. It's all in kind of pinks and purples, and it's really freaking cute. So this is quite similar. Right, I think these are quite similar. They've got very similar colour palette. So they've both got the kind of pinks, the oranges, the kind of purpley, bluey colours. They both have white text, they both have yellow text, and they both have a cartoon animation of people on them. Very different vibe books, but very different similar covers. So we're going to pick up Funny Story by Emily Henry. Which one was this one? This one is really cute. So you have two people who their ex-partners are now dating each other, and so therefore they kind of get thrust together to help with living situations. And then it's like a forced proximity romance, which is really cute. So yeah, Funny Story by Emily Henry. Flick to a random page, point at a word and find a word. Nope. And find that word in a book title on your TBR shelf. Does that mean it's the last prompt? Yeah. This is the last prompt. So whatever word I find, I then need to pick a book that I haven't read with that word in the title. So I've opened to page 180. Oh, I've pointed the word revolved. Not gonna happen. Take 2. The word make. I don't know. Nope. I pointed the word and, which I feel like is a bit of a cheat, so we're gonna go again. I pointed the word and for the second time. Maybe that's a sign. So I feel like and is the word we are going to pick. So the pressure. Do we count ampersands? Which is obviously an and, but not in words. Is that cheating? I'm not sure. Tell me why it's harder than you think to find a book with the word and in the title. It was actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, because they either read, they're not book 1 in a series, or they have ampersands. So I've had to go down the ampersand route. But we are going to read Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver, which I have wanted to read this series for such a long time, and it feels like October is the perfect month to get into this series. So this is the book that the little book scavenger hunt has helped us pick. I'm so excited to read it. So this is what it says on the back of the book. Every serial killer needs a friend. Every game must have a winner. When a chance encounter sparks an unlikely bond between rival murderers Sloane and Rowan, the two find something elusive: the friendship of a like-minded pitch black soul. Stalking across the country, the two hunters collide in an annual game of blood and suffering, one that pits them against the most dangerous monsters in the country. But as their friendship develops into something deeper, the restless ghosts left in their wake are only a few steps behind, ready to claim more than just their newfound romance. Can Rowan and Sloane dig themselves out of a game of graves, or have they finally met their match? Okay, I'm actually really excited. I'm pretty sure this is a romance between two serial killers who kill other serial killers, so that they kill bad people. I think that's this book, but I could have just completely made that up. But yeah, I'm really excited. I have heard a lot of good things about this book. I've been very intrigued to start this series. So this is the book we're going to read in this video, and let's see what we think. So, it's a while later. I haven't really been reading much this week. If you watched, I think the weekly vlog is coming the Sunday after this video. If you watched the weekly vlog, you'll have seen I didn't read much this week at all. But I have made a start on Butcher and Blackbird, and I've made it to page 68. I'm actually really enjoying it. This book is written in quite like a playful way. We're effectively following two serial killers who murder other serial killers. So like, they're kind of doing good, like questionable good work. And at the beginning of the book, we have the female main character called Sloane, who is kind of trapped. She went to, deal with a serial killer and ended up being trapped in his home in like a cage type situation. And then Rowan, who is the male love interest, turns up to also off this serial killer and discovers her trapped and rescues her. You then flash forward a year later. They've been like texting, they've been flirting, but they haven't seen each other for a year. And then when they meet up, they have a bit of a game of who can murder this particular serial killer first. And that's kind of where we're at there in the process. I think I'm actually chasing after him. So yeah, it's a very, like, considering it's a dark romance, it's somehow quite light-hearted, which therefore I feel like it's probably quite a good dark romance to get into if you want to get into the genre. But we're also only very early in the book, so I have no idea what's going to happen, obviously, in the latter part. But that's kind of where we're at. I'm going to go upstairs now and probably make a really decent chunk in this book. It's not that long, it's like 330 pages. So I do think I'll end up finishing this book today. But yeah, I think the plan is to head back upstairs. I've just made a cup of tea, it's currently brewing over there. And then I will head upstairs and start this book. They finally kissed. They finally actually got round to having a goddamn kiss, and we are over halfway through the book. I mean, that being said, it's quite a short book, but I really enjoyed the little like flirty banter they had, or they probably still do, but they had up until that point. And what I'm really enjoying, I don't know if I can find an example where it's not a spoiler, this book is full of text exchanges. So because the two characters don't live in the same place and therefore often spend time apart, there are like text exchanges, and their texts are so flirty. Like, it's a proper like little flirty fight, and I absolutely adore it. I'm actually having such a good time. It does feel like, so there's some dark discussions, like there's a cannibalist at one point. I haven't read the full triggers because I actually don't find that much triggering, like I'm quite lucky in that respect, but there are a whole list of triggers in the beginning of the book, and it's primarily around the serial killers that they meet and what those people do to their victims. So a lot of the triggers, at least so far, having read this book, is around that point. One thing I am really enjoying about this book versus some other dark romances that I've read is there is so clearly an obvious... Ooh, I'm going to turn this lamp on again. There is so clearly an attraction between these two people. They so clearly find each other really, really, like, beautiful people, right? But typically, when you read a especially dark romance, it gets very spicy very fast. And I do think there are spice scenes in these books. I'm pretty sure I've seen posts online that like list out the spicy chapters. So I do think these books get spicy, but I have actually quite enjoyed the fact that it hasn't gone there straight away. And you have actually watched the two of them form a bit of a friendship, and then it moves into more of, well, it was quite a flirty friendship from day one, but like, and then moves slowly into an absolute obsession, and they are completely, utterly obsessed with each other. And I just really enjoy that. I also really enjoy the main male character, Rowan, has a restaurant, and occasionally you witness like the restaurant scenes, i.e. him with his staff, him setting up a new restaurant. Like, it's actually really nice having like that second side to him, so that there's more to the characters than the kind of serial killer part of their personality. Like, I'm actually enjoying the fact that there feels to be like another like normal sides to those characters, so that they can have almost like a normal life as well as like what they were also doing. I've made it to page 179. I've just hit the like first kiss point, like it just happened, and it happened in that like classic book trope phase where he goes into hyper protective mode because of something that happens to her, and it's like, you're mine, I want to keep you safe, like do not touch her, and then he kisses her. I really, there's a lot about this book that is, I would say the writing isn't like gonna change your life. It's not like the most flowery, beautiful, poetic writing. It's good writing, and the writing is in no way, shape or form getting in the way of the story. So it's not like you read it going, this writing is bad. It's just not like the high quality, flowery, poetic writing of some authors' writing styles. But Bryn Weaver, who writes this book, solid writing. Like, easy, quick to read, effortless, a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, there's a lot about this book I'm really enjoying, and it is part of a trilogy, and I do own the other two books. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where this series goes. And yeah, it doesn't really feel like there's too much of an overarching plot. It kind of feels a little bit like we're just going from one thing to another thing, with this like love story blooming behind it. So I do kind of wonder where the series is going to go beyond this book, but enjoying it nonetheless. Anyway, we have now hit the 1 o'clock mark. I'm gonna be taking a break because I'm actually going to film some clips for a different video, and then I will be back to read this afternoon. So I am 50 pages from the end. Like, I'm so nearly finished. We've got to the like cliffhanger-y bit. You know, like, it's sort of like a third act breakup, but not really type of vibe in this book. So yeah, I'm on page 281. I have some quotes that I have like pinpointed that I really wanted to like share because I just love them. One was following somewhere where basically Sloane, the female main character, gets hurt, and Rowan, who is the male main character, says this to her: "You're all the best things to me, Sloane, no matter how many bruises are on your heart or on your skin." So cute. And then I saved another one, which I'm pretty sure is full of swear words. I'm gonna have to find a way to like redo this sentence for online. But it's, "I would kill for you, and I have. I would do it again every damn day. I turn myself inside and out for you. I would die for you. I don't just like you, Sloane, and you effing know it." So yeah, I am very near the end of the book. It's definitely got a bit more spicier. The spice is now here. It's a very like dominant, submissive type relationship, which I guess if you're not into that, then don't read this book or skim through those chapters, because you can probably get away without reading it. But I guess there's a lot of sexual thoughts in this book, and they are kind of getting worse, not worse, but more as you progress through the story. But yeah, we've just got to the bit where one of them is in now a bit of danger and it's caused a bit of friction, and now they're gonna have to try and solve it. So yeah, we are 50 pages from the end. I'm still really enjoying it. The kind of light-hearted banter is kind of there, but it has seemed to have like dropped off a little bit in all of the like sexy chat, so I'll see if it comes back. I mean, they're currently going through something relatively traumatic, so when that has hopefully resolved, hopefully some of that will come back. But I'm still intrigued where book 2 and 3 are going to go, unless it's just continuing to follow the relationship between these two people. But yeah, absolutely thriving. As I said, I have 50 pages left, which I probably can read in the next sort of like 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm probably gonna go sit potentially in Alex's office with Alex and read the last bit of this book. But yeah, it's really, really fun. I would say it's, to me, floating somewhere between the 4 and 4.5 stars at this point in time. Let's go finish the last 50 pages. I have finished the book. I have made it to the end of Butcher and Blackbird. I really enjoyed it. It still feels like a perfectly wrapped up book, so I'm so intrigued how they've like brought it out into a whole series. Oh, I think the second and third books follow different characters. Fine. The next books follow different characters. I was gonna say their whole love story has been like perfectly wrapped up with a little bow, and then there was like a little additional chapter of like a little while later, so it just felt very like finished. But that makes sense because these two are about different people. So yeah, I mean, it was cute. It was a very short, succinct little book. I enjoyed it. I'm quite content, I think, with my 4 to 4.5 kind of rating. It's going to go into Goodreads as a 4-star, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Now I know the next books don't follow the same characters, but characters, like the secondary characters from this book, kind of get their own books. I'm kind of more excited for the next ones now, because this did very much feel like it was wrapping up. It did get very spicy towards the end, and there were a lot of trigger points in this book if you are easily triggered by a good number of things. So if you are triggered by things, I would 100% check the trigger ratings. I'm not going to list them out because I think some of them are in the plot line, some of them don't. But yeah, I mean, you're dealing with serial killers, both in terms of the main characters, but also the people the main characters interact with. So obviously keep that in mind. I do think as a dark fantasy goes, there is obviously a lot of it in there because of the characters' like actions and who they are, but in terms of the actual romance, it did feel a little bit more slow burn than I would say a typical dark romance feels like to me. Like, it took a long time for them to actually like get to it. And one thing I really enjoyed about this versus some other dark romance books, which if you've read some, and the most famous one to me I can think of is Haunting Adeline, there is no questionable consent in here. It is so consensual between both partners, and for that I absolutely feel a lot more comfortable reading this book. And there was nothing about this book that I was reading it going, well, apart from the murdering, but the relationship, there was nothing about it that I was like, this makes me uncomfortable. So for that, for a dark romance, adored it, because dark romances, especially the stalker type, can get a little bit questionable. I really enjoyed their little romance. I really enjoyed that it was like flirty banter and like flirty sort of bickering to like a full-on love story. It did feel like it moved quite fast in terms of them falling in love, but I think it's because the first part of the book, like the first 100 pages, are set across about 4 years. So there is a lot of time that you don't see. So for that perspective, I did quite enjoy that, although it was fast for you, there was a lot of history to them, and I enjoyed that. So yeah, overall a very, very good book. I wouldn't give it a 5-star personally, because it did feel a little bit like a quick, cheesy, effortless book rather than like one that's gonna absolutely change your brain chemistry. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the next books. And this is the end of today's video. So I really hope you guys enjoyed having a little rummage through my, what is called, shelves. I rummaged through my shelves to pick a book. We picked Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver, which is the first book in this series. So started another series. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed spending a couple of days with me as I read this book. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, leave a comment, you know what to do. The next book video that comes out next week, I think, is my monthly TBR, and then the week after is a doing book stuff video. So if you're excited for either of those two things, click subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!